Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm your host, Lawrence, over at Mighty Comics Collectibles, and I want to thank you for joining me for another video. Today, of course, the Hot 10 Comics of the Week breakdown, where I take the 10 hottest comics, I break them down for you, let you know which books I'm buying, which books I'm not, and so on and so forth. Now, the most important thing, if you guys are not a current subscriber of the channel, do yourself a favor, hit that sub button, smash the like button for me, because it does help the channel out. With that out of the way, let's get into this week's breakdown. Starting us all off at number 10 is Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man number 1 and the first issue of the second ongoing Spider-Man series. 3 copies and a 9.8 alone broke the average this week with a high selling for $375, up 12% over the average. Obviously, this is the first time that Spectacular Spider-Man has made the list in 2025. I just got to ask why. All of a sudden, this book is on this list. $300 or something for a 9.8 is not bad, but I got to ask, why do I want to own this book? Back on the list after a few weeks off at number 9 is Uncanny X-Men number 101, the debut of new powers as Jean Grey is reborn as the Phoenix. 6 sales beat the average this week with a high in a CGC 9.0, selling for $661, up 8% over the average. Next up, a CGC 8.5 sale, selling for $511, up 1% over the average. And lastly, a CGC 7.5, selling for $455, up 7% over the average. You're a big X-Men fan, you got to own this book. I myself, this is one of the better Bronze Age covers there is. So yes, I want to own it. I don't want to break the bank, around $500, a little bit more than that for a nice high-grade copy. I am definitely a buyer of this one. Whoa, back-to-back X-Men at number 8 is Uncanny X-Men number 266 and the second appearance of Gambit. Yes, I said it. This is the first cover appearance. 13 sales broke the average this week with a high in a CGC 9.8, selling for only $531 and up 1% over the average. Then we had 5 sales and a 9.6 with a high of $260, up 10% over the average. You guys know I say this all the time, copyright books, 9.8s for $500, I'd be a buyer. This one's about $30 over. I'd still be okay with it if you find the greatest, beautiful looking 9.8 you could find for this book. But yes, I do want to own it. I just don't want to break the bank on it. Out of nowhere at number 7 this week is Aliens number 1. A crazy 9 sales of this one beat the average this week with a high in a CGC 9.8, selling for $2,250, up 3% over the average. Then we had a CGC 9.6 sale of $380, up 13% over the average. And finally, we had 5 sales and a 9.4, with a high selling for $269, up 35%. That's crazy over the average. Can anyone tell me why this book all of a sudden is getting hot? I have no idea. I was a big Aliens fan growing up as a kid, but I do not want to spend this kind of change on the Aliens comic. That is just me. Back to the Bronze Age at number 6 this week is Tomb of Dracula number 10, the first appearance of Blade. 5 sales beat the average this week with a high in a CGC 9.4, selling for $2,802, up 1% over the average. Next up, a CGC 7.5 sale, selling for $900, up 5% over the average. And lastly, a CGC 5.0, selling for $725 and up a crazy 28% over the average. You guys hear me say this all the time. There's about 10 books in the Bronze Age that I definitely want to own, and this is on this list. Unfortunately, it's towards the bottom half of the 10. I'd rather own Giant Size X-Men 1, Hulk 181, Amazing Spider-Man 129, and so on and so forth. Doesn't mean I don't want to own it. It just means I have to really watch what I pay for this book. But either way, I do think it's a buy. Sticking with the Bronze Age, at number 5 is Ghost Rider number 1 and the first solo titled series featuring Ghost Rider Johnny Blaze. 6 sales broke the average this week with a high and a 9.4, selling for $1,376, up 3% over the average. Next up, we had an 8.0 sale for $610, up 5% over the average. And lastly, a CGC 6.5 selling for $468 and up 15% over the average. Marvel Spotlight 5 also saw an uptick this week with sales above the year-long average. To me, that is the book I'd rather own, Marvel Spotlight 5, the first appearance of Ghost Rider, not Ghost Rider number 1. And I'm going to say this, if you already own Marvel Spotlight 5 and you want to own this book, I'm going to say go for it, grab it, just don't overpay. But if you don't own a Marvel Spotlight 5 yet, that's the book I'm after. It took till number 4 to get to our first Silver Age book. It is Silver Surfer number 4. This classic cover by John Buscema. This is also the first battle between Silver Surfer and Thor. 7 copies outsold the average this week with a high in a CGC 8.5, selling for $2,070 and up 9% over the average. Next up, we have a CGC 8.0 sale for $1,800, up 12% over the average. And finally, a CGC 6.0 selling for $775, up 11% over the average. Silver Surfer 4 makes the list for the first time in 2025. That is shocking to me. I love Silver Age keys. This one's not a big key, but it is a classic cover. I do think there's room for them in my collection, so therefore, I want to own this book. I just don't want to overpay. And rounding out the top 3 are 3 Spider-Man books. Let's start at number 3. It's Amazing Spider-Man number 13 and the first appearance of Mysterio. 6 sales broke the average this week with a high in a CGC 8.5, selling for a crazy $4,275, up 7% over the average. Then we had a CGC 6.0 sale for $1,599, up 8% over the average. And finally, a CGC 4.5 selling for $1,100 and up 16% over the average. This is the only time in 2025 that Mysterio makes the Hot 10 list. You guys know how I feel about this book. I love Spider-Man keys, especially the Silver Age ones. It's a must-own book. I think right now for a mid-grade copy is running about $500 to $600. That I'd be all over every time. At the 2 spot this week is a book that's a regular on this list. It is Amazing Spider-Man number 300 and the first full appearance of Venom. A crazy 14 sales beat the average this week with a high in a CGC 9.8, selling for $2,640, up 1% over the average. There's been a total of 54 ASM 300s and a 9.8 alone have sold so far in 2025 with no end in sight. Do I want to own the book? No question. Do I want to pay $2,600 for a 9.8? I still think it's too expensive. Around $2,000 is what I think it should be going for. Until then, I'd rather own a raw copy or a 9.2, 9.4 graded copy. And finally, at the top spot, the hottest book on the market. It's like nothing I've ever seen. It's Amazing Spider-Man number 129 and the first appearance of the Punisher, Frank Castle. This is also the first appearance of the Jackal and an iconic cover by the great Gil Kane and John Romita Sr. 12 copies beat the average this week with a high in a CGC 9.4, selling for a crazy $5,200, up an insane 40% over the average. That is just nuts. Next up, a CGC 9.2 sale for $3,689, up 28% over the average, equally nuts. And lastly, a CGC 8.5 selling for $2,089 and up 5% over the average. Amazing Spider-Man 129 reclaims the top spot and a spot on the list for the 27th time in 2025. Absolutely remarkable. You guys know I love this book. I want to own it, but I'm not paying 40 to 30% over last GPA sale or even the 90-day average. That to me is crazy. A lot of copies out there. You can get your copy for cheap. I know you can. You just got to do your due diligence. Hope you guys enjoy the list. A lot of great books. Some new books on the list as well. I'm happy to see that. But it's now time for my best buy of the week. And this is a tough one between Amazing Spider-Man 129 and probably Silver Surfer number 4. Because we're getting these crazy percentage increases on ASM 129, I'm going with Silver Surfer number 4. It's an iconic book, a classic cover. If you like collecting classic covers, it's a must-own book, and I love to have it in my collection. Hope you guys enjoyed the list. This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics Collectibles saying thank you for watching. Happy collecting, and I'll talk to you guys soon. First time in 2025. Now, I have seen this book all over Instagram live sales. Believe it or not, it is a hot book right now. No can do denying that. But with that said, do I want to spend $700 on a super high grade copy of this book? I don't think so, guys. There's a lot of copies out there of this one. I do want to own it, but I got to get it for the right price.